Hello and welcome to the Enjoy Life, Enjoy Yourself podcast. I'm Ingo Hampe and it's the 2nd of February 2023. Today I would like to talk about the performative aspect of photography. Photography is more than just the photo. And when we see or look at these pictures, we often don't see how they are made, and it's very unusual that the photographer talks about the photographic process, how she or he got to this image. So what brought this topic up to me is in Berlin right now, there's the European Month of Photography. So there are a lot of exhibitions, very interesting ones. And on Saturday, that was a few days ago, I visited one of these exhibitions, a small gallery, the AF Gallery, Wedding, it's Prenzlauer Berg. And the subject of this exhibition was the performative aspect of photography. Basically, there were 3 artists who are exhibited, and they deal with this subject in their own kind. So what draw me into this? Why did the title triggered me? I think that it's rather interesting. So right now I'm looking at the topic of conscious photography, so that photography itself can be a tool for personal development and growth, and maybe also some kind of self-reflection and rise awareness and mindfulness. And to do this, I cannot just take pictures the way I did before. I have to think about how I do the pictures and what I have to think about the process of making pictures and what happens during this process within me, within the subject, within the connection of us, the relationship during a photo shoot. And also there was this book that I'm currently reading. It's a photography masterclass by Paul Loew. And there was also a little chapter called the performative aspect of photography. So that's kind of the background, and that's why I attended this. I visited this exhibition, and that what got me thinking about, well, how do I feel this? And people could say that when we look at a picture, or the process of taking a picture is kind of a performance, like how the photographer interacts with the subject, like a landscape photographer who put up his tripod and waits for the perfect light, or a street photographer that is dancing around and try to find the right angle and the right light and the right composition and the decisive moment, of course, or like the portrait photographer, which is more like me, or how I see myself, who sets up the light and directs the subject and tells them how to pose. But actually, I find this interpretation of performance, I find it a little bit irritating. Because for me, a performance means that there's an audience who's witnessing what is happening in the moment. You might record this performance, and then it's not in live action, but in the end, there's an audience who will watch the whole process, and often that's not the case for me. Sure, I love to watch when other photographers are doing their work. Sometimes I see them on the street doing street portraits or fashion shoots, but that's rather rare. And more often, a photographer is unnoticed when he or she takes the picture. So, what does this process look like for me? And for me, taking pictures is more like a dialogue, like a conversation. It's like there is a scene that speaks to me, whether it's a street photography or it's a portrait, and I answer it. I answer to the scene just by pressing the button for the shutter to take the picture. But also, the scene speaks to me and something resonates. And what I try to do is to keep this conversation going. So a good picture for me is when this dialogue continues, when I print this pictures or exhibit them on social media, and the viewer also starts to, basically to ask question. The scene, where does it come from? Where is it going? What is happening right now? And so in this way, a photo is starting like it's kind of a visual storytelling. So there's a story going on in the mind of the viewer, and the picture doesn't give him the answer, and he's engaged with the picture. How do I get to this? Of course, when I work with models, what I did in the past a lot, I try to pick a theme, make a mood board, think about what I'd like to shoot, what kind of topics I would like to touch, and then before I shoot with the model, I show them the mood boards, and I try and explain what I try to achieve. But then, when it's actually come to this shooting, it's not that I have a very clear vision or a clear picture in my head what I like to achieve. It's rather vague, and I highly depend on what the model does and what it does to offer their routines, their poses. And I do a little directing and say, oh yeah, let's look nice, let's do more of this, let's repeat that. But very often the pictures that I take are a result, an outcome of surprises. So I like to be surprised in a way. It's not something that I have planned or even that I have intended to do in the shooting. So it's more like I'm the observer, and like right now I'm looking at the plant in the office and how the light, the setting sun hits the plant, and how it separates. There's some light and some dark leaves in this plant. And I think, oh, that could be a nice picture. So that's how I work, and that's how the pictures emerge. How I do this, and yeah, in order to do this, I have to practice. And one part of this practice is to get a feeling, get a mood of the shoot itself, to prepare myself, to think ahead, to visualize, okay, what could happen. But the other part is also to be present in the moment. And that's what happens, to be calm, which is always a little bit work, because in the beginning I'm very excited. And also the model is excited. We haven't worked together before. So there are little steps and little routines that I do during the shooting. I show them my pictures. Okay, this is just the beginning. I explain to them the process. I explain to them how I work. And I show them the picture and say, oh, okay, this is the early stage. I think now we are beginning to get into something, and let's continue. But also to make them sure, make them feel comfortable in a way that I won't do bad pictures of them. And I think that's very important. And I think that's the most important part, especially if you're working with a very creative people, or you wanted to create something edgy, something that is you may not consider as beautiful in the first place. It's a very important process to allow myself, and to allow the model to be vulnerable, and to show them, expose them in a way they normally wouldn't do. To calm my mind. That's one part of the process. It's one part of the practice, and also to train my eyes, even if I'm not holding a camera, to see pictures. Like right now, the sun is fading away, and the moment is gone. The sun hits a different branch of the plant, and it doesn't look that beautiful to me now than it did just a few minutes ago. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. A little bit about the performance. Maybe it is a performance, but it's also a dialogue, and that I think that the most important thing of taking pictures is to keep the dialogue going on, even if I have no control over the picture anymore, because it's out of my hands, and I don't have any control over the dialogue as well. And to reach a state of mind, a state of calm, in order to do what I love to do. That's it for now. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this little thought of me just rambling around. And please tune in next time. Thank you, and bye-bye.